we get into this story, first of all, I want to say, I want to be very conscious of those that are victims. And I also want to be conscious of those that have been falsely accused. So I want to be careful how I word this. But I will also say, I actually have never met Russell Brand. I've never interviewed him. I've never been on his show. So I'm actually discussing this from a complete outsider perspective. I do not know the dude, but I have seen his shows. So Russell Brand has been accused of sexual assault allegations. Key word here is accused. Russell Brand has not been officially charged with a crime. And I want us to remember that as we go into this story. So let's start with the report coming straight from the UK. The sexual assault allegations against Russell Brand explained. 4 women have accused Russell Brand of, I'm just going to say assault because of how YouTube can be, all of which he denies. So let's get into this here. We'll get into the original report. In the original report, 3 publications documented 1 allegation of assault and 3 allegations of assault against Brand. Again, I'm not going to say the R word on here because, like I said, I know how YouTube can be with that. These incidents allegedly took place between 2006 and 2013 and occurred while he was working for the BBC on Channel 4 and in different films as an actor. The BBC and Channel 4 have since said they will be conducting internal investigations. Okay, before we get into the investigations, one thing I do want to add is that I want people to understand this actually did not come, just poof out of the cloud, out of nowhere. Apparently, from what I've read, these investigations have been ongoing for quite some time, a couple of years. So I have to make that very clear so people don't just assume. And I noticed some people have been assuming that out of nowhere, this story just appeared, out of the blue. There have been ongoing investigations for a couple of years. So just FYI. Let's get into the allegations. There were 4 allegations in the initial report, which uses pseudonyms for all 4 women to protect their privacy. So again, these are not their real names. Nadia, a woman who has been intimate with Brand, describes being assaulted by him in his home after rejecting his suggestions of a threesome. She was treated by an assault crisis center following the alleged attack, but declined to file a police report at the time due to concerns about her reputation and the backlash she could face. Nadia provided reporters with screenshots of text messages written after the incident, during which she wrote, "When a girl says no, it means no," and Brand replied that he was very sorry. Let me pause there for a second. If she still has those text, because she said screenshots of a text message, they would probably ask for, if this went to court, the opposing side would probably say, what's the full context of the message? Because I can take a screenshot of my text message and omit everything that was said before that or after that. So that's just, I'm not a lawyer or a judge, but I've watched a lot of Law and Order in my day. And I could see them just, doing that. Like, where's the rest of that message? How do we know that's all of it? Right. But if that's true in this part where he says if that's true, that would be interesting. Investigators also reviewed her medical records from the crisis center and subsequent counseling sessions to corroborate her account. Alice was 16. The age of consent in the UK when she dated Brand, who was 31 at the time, and says that he once forced those kind of things to happen. Now, 16. So that's another thing I've seen people on social media saying one of them was underage and da-da-da. Well, different countries, different rules. Apparently in the UK, the age of consent is 16 years old. Now, I would say this. I would want to know what a 31-year-old man would have or why he would have an interest in someone that's 16 years old. I would question that. And on the other side of that, one can also say, well, musicians have been doing that for quite some time. But I would question that. That's a little strange. All of these women were having some type of relationship with him. There's something I want to make very clear. That does not mean if you have a relationship with someone that they cannot assault you. That is false. But this is interesting to know. Let's go on. Alice said that she dated Brand for 3 months, during which she alleges that he groomed her and told her how to frame the relationship to her parents. In one encounter at the end of their relationship, Alice said Brand assaulted her when he, did that fellatio thing. Even as she was pushing him away, she says she had to punch him in the stomach to get him off of her. Phoebe, this is number 3, previously had a sexual relationship with Brand and described the assaults that occurred after it had ended. She says that she was working on a project at his house, during which he removed his clothes, he pinned her down and put his hand down her pants or whatever. She pushed him away. I'm trying to be careful how I say this. She also says she encountered people outside Brand's home as she was leaving, including one person who later said he heard screaming and apologized for not helping. So it'll be interesting to see if this witness of the scream, it'll be interesting to see if that person is willing to come forward. Let's continue. And the fourth person in the article describes allegations of being assaulted as well as physical and emotional abuse. In addition to the reporting on the allegations, the investigation included hundreds of interviews with people who knew Brand and had previously worked with him. This reporting also included descriptions from other women of abuses by Brand, including that he flashed his stuff at a person on the BBC set and that he threatened and shouted at women who refused to sleep with him. Additionally, it stated that Brand's approach towards women was an open secret among those who worked with him in the industry, and that past colleagues at Channel 4 felt their role was to help Brand meet young women. So, one thing I will say, I'm curious about other people who have had relationships with Russell Brand, like Katy Perry. I'm not sure if she has commented on this at all. But that would be interesting to hear what she has to say. Now, we want to make sure that we're respectful towards those, again, that are victims and those who also have been falsely accused. And one of the comparisons that's been brought my way is Tara Reid. Some people are saying on social media that they don't understand how the people who are defending Joe Biden against Tara Reid are not defending Russell Brand, right? Some of the people are saying, oh, he was always right. He's bringing those right-wing people on there. He's gotten kind of creepy, like that kind of thing. I've seen it all in the past couple of days. Others are saying they don't understand how people who are defending Tara Reid against Joe Biden can defend Russell Brand. And to that, I say this. One thing to keep in mind with the Tara Reid situation, Tara Reid came forward in person with her real name and her story. Tara Reid went into incredible detail. Tara Reid came forward and had immense detail. Right now, in reference to this particular situation, we have 4 women who we don't know. Remember, they're using pseudonyms. They're not using their real name. So we don't know the women, and we don't have a lot of detail. We have what I told you there in that article, but not as much detail as Tara Reid gave. So just keep that in mind for the people making that comparison. Russell Brand has responded to the accusations, and I want you to hear what he had to say, and then we're going to tell you some other theories that are flirting around, and then what happened with his YouTube channel earlier this morning.
Hello there, you awakening wonders. Now, this isn't the usual type of video we make on this channel where we critique, attack, and undermine the news in all its corruption, because in this story, I am the news. I've received two extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan, when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of. And we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth. Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. And I mean,
let me pause here for just a second. So one thing I do want to point out, Russell Brand has been pretty open about his past, his private life. Like, he's discussed things that I really didn't think was people's business, like about his personal life. But he's been very open and candid about like his sexual past, his drug use, etc. And I think what's really interesting is, again, I always think about timing. And I question the timing. And I think that's something we all need to ask. Where was this push before Russell Brand had this show? Let's see how old. Let's check something for just a second. And we'll come back to the video. We have to remember Russell Brand has over 6 million subscribers, right? Let me finish the video and I'll come back and we'll check and see when the channel started.
My voice along with your voice. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous consensual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very, very serious criminal allegations. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts the narratives that these two mainstream media outlets are trying to construct, apparently in what seems to me to be a coordinated attack. Now, I don't want to get into this any further because of the serious nature of the allegations, but I feel like I'm being attacked, and plainly they are working very closely together. We are obviously going to look into this matter because it's very, very serious. In the meantime, I want you to stay close, stay awake, but more important than any of that, if you can, please stay free. Hello there, you awakening.
So another thing to keep in mind, so let's check, I want to check something really quick, because if you go to someone's YouTube channel, right, there's the about section. They really bury this mofo. They put the about all at the end. Okay, so he joined in 2007, usually at the bottom. Okay, so joined in 2007, but the channel really started to blow up over the last, I'd say like the last 2 years, right? So we've been saying for quite some time that they were eventually going to come after Russell Brand. By they, we're talking about the government agencies, et cetera, or YouTube itself. He had already received some type of censorship on YouTube before, and then he moved over, said we're going to be live streaming on Rumble, but he still did YouTube as well. So he was still monetized. We'll get into that in just a second. But what was really interesting to me is that, is the Notori post not here? I'll have to go back and check that. Notori posted something Oh, I have to come back and get it. I have to find it. We'll come back to the Tory thing in just a second. I don't know what happened to that. But what's really interesting to me is that let's look at a pattern here. I don't like the Joe Rogan comparison because that was a different situation, but I see where he's going from. But the thing is that what has Russell Brand talked about on that channel? He's talked a lot about the pandemic, jab, in a way that the mainstream narrative does not approve of. He has criticized the deep state multiple times. He has interviewed people that, let's say, mainstream media may find to be questionable in some way, shape, or form. When it comes to political candidates, he has also interviewed people from across the spectrum, right? Like he's brought on Ron DeSantis, he's interviewed Cornel West, he's interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy, but he's been very critical about going after the establishment, the deep state, and big pharma in reference to the pandemic. What I am here to say is this. It is only a matter of time, and we've been talking about this before, it's only a matter of time before other voices like his are also going to be silenced. Whether it's this platform, Rockfin, or whatever. Because what I found kind of strange is that this investigation has been going on for a couple of years. I found it a little bit strange that now all of a sudden we're hearing about the accusations now after he has this channel has blown up and the topics that he's been discussing. Again, I want to repeat this just in case people are not aware. But again, these accusations did not just happen out of nowhere. This investigation did not just happen out of nowhere. This investigation has been going on for years. So why didn't we hear about those accusations years ago? Why are we just hearing about the accusations now that his channel has become the go-to channel, not just for media personalities, but also for political candidates? That channel has blown up. The moment Russell Brand's channel passed TYT, I was like, oh, they're going to start looking at him. They're going to start looking at him. That is not the Notori one I wanted, but I'll tell you guys what Notori said. Notori said, I'll see if I can try to find it. Notori tweets a lot, so I may not find this at all. But something that Notori brought up was that, does anyone find it strange that Russell Brand was the first person to make, or the first platform to do the Cornel West presidential announcement? Remember, when Cornel West announced his campaign, he chose to do it on Russell Brand's show. So what Notori was saying is that, does anybody find this to be a little bit strange? Are they trying to come after third party type of thing? Are they coming after Russell Brand because of that? Not just because of that, but is that also problematic as well? Because remember how many people watch his show. So a lot of people saw that announcement. A lot more than I think mainstream media would have wanted to. So they couldn't ignore it. And then I thought about all the people that have been candidates that have been on Russell Brand's show. And I'm starting to wonder if these people are going to be guilty by association. Is the media going to come after Vivek, Ron DeSantis, Cornel West, anyone else that Russell Brand has brought onto that show? Are they going to come after and attack their political campaigns because they went onto Russell Brand's show to talk about their race? Some of you may think, oh, that's a little far-fetched. No, I don't think so. When they trying to knock you down as a political opponent, they'll come for anything. So is there going to be the guilt by association thing? Now, this morning, I found out this news, that on top of the accusations, Russell Brand's YouTube channel has been demonetized from him, meaning that he has been suspended from receiving funds from YouTube. Let me explain what that means. That means that YouTube can still run ads on his channel. Just because you see ads on someone's channel, that doesn't mean the creator is actually, receiving the revenue. I don't know how many of you, I don't know if everyone knew that, but surprise. There have been people that have been demonetized and YouTube will still run ads on their videos and YouTube will receive all the money themselves. So they're still going to show ads on Russell Brand's channel, but he will not receive the revenue of those ads. Let's bring it up. It was announced early this morning. When I tell you they really coming at, now they're coming after your money. Let's go in.
YouTube has announced that it has suspended the monetization of his channel for violating its creator responsibility policy. 4 women have accused Russell Brand of rape, sexual assault, and emotional abuse. Russell Brand denies the allegations. Well, let's get more on this with our correspondent, Vincent McAviney, who's outside the headquarters of the Metropolitan Police in London. Vinny, what more can you tell us?
Well, Russell Brand might have disappeared from more traditional media outlets over recent years, and he's no longer in Hollywood films, but he's built a huge following across social media on the likes of Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. He has millions of followers, and on YouTube in particular, he has over 6 million subscribers. He posts videos near daily, and he has monetization on them, which means that YouTube puts adverts from other companies before and after, sometimes in the middle as well, of those videos. Viewers will be familiar with them. Now, he gets a cut of the revenue from those adverts. I contacted Google yesterday, which owns YouTube, to ask them whether or not that was now under review, given the serious nature of the allegations. As you say, Russell Brand denies them, but they are still serious allegations. They didn't respond yesterday, but this morning they have come back with a statement saying, "We have suspended monetization on Russell Brand's channel for violating our creator responsibility policy. If a creator's off-platform behavior harms our users, employees, or ecosystem, we take action to protect the community." Now, I've checked.
Pause. That piece right there is very important. So what are the rules in reference to having a channel on YouTube? Now, I read the YouTube, I read the YouTube guidelines. I read it every year because they change it every year. But apparently, what you do off of YouTube can also prevent you from being able to have monetization on YouTube and recoup that ad revenue. Now, again, I just want to remind you, Russell Brand is accused. He has not officially been charged with a crime. So now he's basically guilty in the court of public opinion. YouTube has already decided, yeah, you're guilty. We're going to, demonetize your channel. And what is the line? Where do you draw the line here? Let me ask you another question. If someone has committed a crime, regardless of the crime is, they've done their time, they've served their time, and they have been rehabilitated, are they not allowed to be on YouTube? What are the restrictions here? Who makes these rules? How do we know that government agencies didn't reach out to YouTube and push this? How do we know that organizations didn't reach out to YouTube and push this? Sometimes outside organizations will push it and say, you need to take him off. I'm appalled that he's on YouTube. So now what you do in your life, your private life, not just what you say on YouTube, but what you do outside of YouTube can also cause you to be penalized in reference to YouTube? What's the restrictions here? What are the rules? Let's continue. We'll come back. Let's continue. This is crazy.
Russell Brand's YouTube this morning. The account is still there, but the monetization adverts, they're no longer there. There is, however, what is called paid promotion. So you might be familiar with YouTubers, sometimes in the middle of their video, they themselves will stop look at the camera and promote a product or a website or a service. Now, YouTube is listing at the top of the video that there is paid promotion. That is still there. So potentially Russell Brand still can derive money from those videos through whoever did that paid promotion. Now,
let me explain what that means, because I don't think he really understands. Paid, sorry, you can tell when someone's not like a creator on YouTube. They're just like, well, whoever owns that paid promotion. Paid promotion is when you have a sponsor. So Russell Brand does have sponsors. A lot of the people that have, you know, the Rumble channels that are contracted, the Rumble channels that have contracts, they have a sponsor most of the time. You'll see like Kim like advertise like that super green stuff, whatever the thing is. And you'll see Russell Brand do the same thing, said now for a message from our sponsor, that kind of thing. So I just want to explain in reference to the sponsorship and promotion, in reference to Russell Brand, that is an outside company. So let's just say Russell Brand has Nike as a sponsor. So he still receives paid promotion from Nike by advertising their product on his show, even if it's just like 15 seconds. Now, here's the kicker. How long do you think it's going to be before those sponsors pull out? How long? We'll give it time and see. We'll give it time. Luckily for someone like Russell Brand, like I said, this is someone who's a celebrity. He was a comedian. He's been an actor. He also is in a band. Like, he's probably fine financially, meaning that he probably doesn't need YouTube, but I'm pretty sure he loves doing the show. He loves doing what he does. But at the same time, it's like when this happens to most creators on YouTube, this is all they have. And when they're hit like this by YouTube, they don't have like, you know, this cushion to fall back on, so to speak. You know, a lot of them are not wealthy. A lot of creators on YouTube are not, and they really do depend on that monetization. So just something to keep in mind. That was kind of funny the way he described it.
The other news that's emerged in the last 24 hours is from here at New Scotland Yard, the headquarters of London's Metropolitan Police. Now, they haven't named Russell Brand, but they have said that a woman has come forward to make an allegation of sexual assault in 2003 in Soho in central London. That is before the period, which was 2006 to 2013, of the weekend's revelations, but it comes after the Met put out a call for anyone that has similar allegations to come forward to them. She is now being supported by specialist officers. Russell Brand, as I said, denies the allegations. He was meant to be performing at a theatre in Windsor, but that date and the rest of his current tour have been postponed. He is likely now to face an investigation from the Metropolitan Police, who will want to speak to him.
Vincent, thank you very much, Vincent.
Okay, so this is what they do first, right? First, they again, we don't know if he's innocent or guilty, but if I was on the attack, first the smears would come, then they would come after your finances, they would hit you financially, and eventually just erase you altogether. That's typically how these attacks work. And I want to show you what Fiorella said, because I think this is very important. Fiorella Isabel said, whatever you think of Russell Brand, his shady celebrity connections or his problematic behavior towards women is fine. She's not saying his behavior is fine. FYI, she's saying whatever you think of him is fine. But what's undeniable is that the media, Hollywood, or Google didn't seem to care at all until he started saying things that went against their chosen narrative. And did I respond to Fiorella? Yeah, I said bingo. I don't usually give long responses, but I think that's something for us to take into consideration when we're thinking about this story. When I say the timing, that's what I'm talking about. And I'll say it again. This investigation has been happening for years. Why are we just now hearing about it now? I got to be clear here. We need to talk about the media for just a second. Mainstream media is dying. Mainstream media is dying. I don't know about you guys, but most of us, a lot of us don't have cable anymore. When do you watch network television? I only watch network television when I'm watching sports. That's it. Football on Sunday or Monday night or Thursday night football, baseball games, whatever. If it's not sports, I'm not watching network television. You see the problem? If these sports channels were on like Netflix or Hulu, I wouldn't even have a YouTube TV. Other than that, I'm not watching it. What does that tell you? Mainstream media, network television is dying. More people spend time watching YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, HBO Max. People aren't watching it. The people who do like mainstream media, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, these networks are dying. They're not growing, which means that people are choosing other sources and platforms to retrieve their news. These networks know what's happening. They've known it for quite some time, and they're very much concerned. So the fact that someone like Russell Brand, who is a comedian actor, that he was able to get to over 6 million subscribers on YouTube, covering the news, scares the life out of them. Let's be real. Scares the life out of these people. And when they start to see you as a threat, and they do, they're going to come for you. They're going to come for you unless you're following their narrative. Who's next? Throw out names in the chat. Who do you think is next? Who's next? Don't look at me. I'm not big enough for them to be afraid of. These channels that have these millions of subscribers, those are the people they're looking at. And they're looking to see, what are you saying? What you talking about? Who's next? Last year, I said that the large channels on YouTube don't have to worry about the narrative so much because they tend to be protected because they produce a lot of money for YouTube. I was wrong. That is no longer the case. If they can do that to a channel that has over 6 million subscribers, they'll come after anyone. Anyone. So if they're going to take down or come after Russell Brand, you can only imagine who is going to be next. Remember Joe Rogan, that's why he took that deal with Spotify, because they were, taking his content down. No one's really protected. I don't know. Again, we don't know. Right now, I just want to say again, Russell Brand is accused. He has not been charged with a crime. And that's what I want people to remember and to keep into their head. Because I saw people on social media already saying, I knew he was sleazy. I knew it. We really don't know. We have accusations. We have no charge. And for people making the comparison to Tara Reid, again, Tara Reid came forward. Tara Reid's mother called in. But Tara Reid came forward and gave a very detailed account of what happened to her. And another thing I want to remind you too, Tara Reid was speaking out against her boss. So let's remember that. That's a good point, Dwayne. So why is YouTube banning it? They're not banning him. They demonetized. They suspended him from demonetization, meaning that they can still show ads on his videos, but he can't recoup the ad revenue. But to the point, so why is this happening? Right. Why are they doing that to someone who's been accused, but they haven't been charged? And what is the rule? This is what I want you to take home. What is the rule around who can have a channel on YouTube? If they're saying like what you do in your private life actually does matter in reference to having a YouTube channel, what are the rules? Because let me tell you, I didn't see that in their community guidelines. Things to think about. Things to think about. I'm sorry, Notori. I wish I would have found that tweet from Notori. It might have been in an email, but I'll go to the super chats. Tia says, my thing is, why are they blowing up the thing with Brand when Tara Reid's case was shut down? Yep. Thank you, Natalie. As with Julian being the head of the pike for a free press, Russell is the same for free speech. Thank you, Sparky. Globalist controlled protest organizations keep energetic protesters occupied so they don't find more important issues or effective organizations. That is interesting. Thank you, Skyzer. Always the same people. Oh, excuse me. Always the same with those who dare defy our corporate establishment. I'm not going to say those words on here. We're a total mafia run state, like Jimmy Dore says. Stephanie, exactly. She also filed a complaint with Congress and HR at the time. That's true. She's talking about Tara Reid. She did. JB said, Sabs, this is why we need a YouTube files ASAP. Exactly. Look, we all saw the Twitter files. We need to see the YouTube files. Thank you, Gala. Please bring Caleb Maupin back to the show, Sab. Thank you, Gala. Thank you, Sparky. J. Edgar Hoover kept files on non-political celebs just in case they became political problems later, but was limited by file cabinet space. Modern tech makes law enforcement and intel hell on wheels. Yeah, J. Edgar Hoover was a clown. Thank you, Mary. Might be you, Sabby. Watch your back. Yeah, I'm not much of a threat, and most people don't even know I'm around. But those kind of the $1 million, the million subscriber channels, they looking at you, man. They looking at you. We'll have to wait and see what happens with this situation.